Greetings to all the friends and subscribers. Today the video is going to be Saints in Heaven on a credit card. Alright, so there's only two places you can go when you die. You're either going to heaven or hell. There's the only two places that anybody's going. We're not going to talk about hell today. We're going to talk about heaven, and we're going to talk about how you get there. So, some saints go to heaven, or will, or did, rather, on a credit card. But before you have a credit card, you got to have a contract, all right? And there is a contract in the Bible. It's called the everlasting contract. And in this contract, there are 4 parties to the contract. 3 of those parties are active, and 1 of those parties is passive. All right, so who are those parties? Well, the first one is the Father. The Father is the first party in the contract. The Son is the second party in the contract, and the Holy Ghost is the third party in the contract. And this is the way it went. The Father elected before the foundation of the world those whom he wanted to be part of his family, those he wanted saved. And the responsibility of the Son in this contract was to be incarnated into human flesh, come down to earth, be born of a virgin, be raised to the age of 33, whereby he would suffer a death on a cross, paying the price of sin for all the elect that the Father chose before the foundation of the world. The third party in the contract is the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost regenerates all of those whom Christ died for. Now, does that mean that Christ died for all of mankind? No, of course not. He only died for his people, his sheep. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to put up a chart, so to speak, okay? And we're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to go away, but I'm going to talk, and I'm going to explain some things on the chart. Oh, who's the fourth person in the contract? Oh yeah, that's the beneficiary. That would be us, God's sheep, his elect, completely passive. It's not a matter of our choice. He made the choice. And at some point in time, before you, if you're one of God's elect, are born, and before you die, leave this tent that you'd be living in, you would be regenerated. Because we are all born into sin, because we're all part of Adam's race, spiritually dead. The only way we're made alive is that we are quickened by God himself to life, spiritual life. All right, we're going to look at the chart, and I'm going to explain a few things. Here's our chart, and on the left you could see the everlasting contract. Now, I use the word contract, but in the Bible it says covenant, and covenant and contract are actually synonymous. You can find this in Genesis 17:7 through 6, and also in Hebrews 13:20. So now that we've talked about the everlasting contract or covenant, let us look at the credit card here towards the center of the screen. I use the word credit card because the debt had not yet been paid, and the Old Testament elect saints are in heaven. David, Moses, Jacob, Adam, Abraham, Eve, but the debt for their sins, the elect that died in the Old Testament before the cross, those sins were not paid for on the cross, and yet they are in heaven, as it were, on a credit card. So from Adam to the cross, we have the credit card. But that credit card is paid in full, where Christ died on the cross, paying the full price for the sins of the elect from the time of Adam to the time of the second coming. Don't let anybody deceive you about this thing of soul sleep or purgatory. Those doctrines are nonsense. I'll read you some scriptures that you can see what I'm talking about. Of course, we know Jesus told the thief on the cross in Luke 23:43 that that very day he would be with him in paradise. So there was no going to sleep and there was no purgatory involved here. So those doctrines are ridiculous. Don't believe them. Here are a few more scriptures just to prove the point. 2 Corinthians 5:8. We are confident, I say, and willing rather to be absent from the body and present with the Lord. Another one would be Philippians 1:23. Paul writing, For I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and be with Christ, which is far better. And he didn't say better, he said far better. Paradise and heaven are the same place. 2 Corinthians 12:24, Paul states the third heaven and paradise are the same. All right, we'll go on now to the book of Zechariah, and we're going to talk about the Old Testament former sea and the New Testament hinder sea. The word sea in the Bible many times is referring to a mass of people, not a sea as in the Black Sea or Caspian Sea. And so here we are, Zechariah 14:6. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them towards the hinder sea. In the summer and in the winter shall it be. Now this living water going forth in both the directions, that would be in the past, for the present, and in the future, is the payment that is Christ's blood securing and completing the covenant, the contract that was made before the foundation of the world to be the propitiation for the sins of all of those elect people whom were chosen before the foundation of the world. All right, so now let us move on towards the hinder sea, and we see up there the rest of God's elect. John, Paul, Mark, Matthew, Stephen, Peter, Luke, Timothy, Philip, and many people that I, again, could not be able to number because the number of in heaven is innumerable. I hope this has been beneficial to you. Speaking of saints in heaven on a credit card and the everlasting covenant which was made before the foundation of the world. Many blessings to you, and bye-bye.